This time we've been given a very strict budget to go and buy everything that you're going to need to start your fishing journey. So basically we have a total expenditure of $65, and that has to include a fishing license, a fishing rod, a fishing reel, line, leader, jig heads and soft plastics, and basically have everything that we need to get out and go fishing. We're only going to be doing land-based fishing as well, so no boat, no kayak and no jet ski, and we've got a $65 budget, and it's only going to be doing bread and butter fishing at your local piers and jetties. So what we're going to do is we're going to go online, we're going to scour through all of your major retailers, we're going to find products and we're going to show exactly what they are, stuff that you can go out and buy yourself, and we're going to have a spreadsheet keeping tabs of every single expense, and we're going to work hard to make sure we can get everything under that budget of $65. Now, if you're going to go out and do this, the best thing that you probably want to do is go out to your local tackle store, some great tackle stores locally that will help you with your buying choices. And obviously, if you can stretch your budget from $65 up to about that $200 range, there is a lot of volume of some really good stuff that you can buy around that price point. But we love a fishing challenge, so we're going to get everything done for under 65 bucks. So let's get onto the computer and let's get shopping. All right, so the first thing that we're going to need to buy is a fishing license. Now, you can buy these as either 3-day, 28-day, 1 year, or 3 year. Now, because we are trying to stick to a very, very tight budget, and because we're acting as if we're a beginner fisher that really wants to just give this a go, we're going to buy a 3-day pass, which costs you $10. Now, you can buy that 28-day pass for $22.70, a 1 year pass for $37.50, or a 3-year pass for $102.40. Now, do keep in mind there are exceptions to not needing a fishing license. You don't need one if you're under 18 years old. You don't need one if you're over 70 years old. You don't need one for certain cultural backgrounds, and you don't need one for certain concessions that you may already have. So make sure you look at that. All the information is on the Victorian Fisheries website, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy a 3-day fishing pass for $10. All right, so that is our fishing license sorted. So now it's time to go in and have a look at some of the fishing gear. Now, when you're going to choose a fishing rod, obviously you need to make some choices on whether you're going to be fishing with bait or whether you're going to be fishing with lures and soft plastics, or even if you're going to be fishing out in the surf, because they all do require a little bit of a different setup. So what we're going to be doing in this video, and that's only because we love fishing with lures and soft plastics, is we're going to buy a spin rod, which is more tailored to flicking soft plastics and lures. We're going to pick something around 2 to 4 kilo, something that's around 6.5 foot to 7 foot long, and you're going to find that is a really good setup that's going to cover a wide variety of species. So whether you're doing freshwater and you're targeting things like redfin and trout, whether you're out in the bay where we're probably going to be fishing, where you're targeting things like flathead and pinkies and trevally and salmon, it's going to be a very versatile setup. It's going to allow you to do a lot of those things. Now, obviously, we've got a pretty tight budget in this challenge, so what we're going to do is search for fishing rod combos, because a lot of your tackle stores and online retailers will have a package that will include a rod, a reel, and line that is basically ready to go and a little bit more cost effective. So we're going to jump online now. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to select products, then fishing rod and reel combos. Okay, and you can see here there is quite a number of options here to choose from, which is fantastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort that by lowest price. And you can see there's a heap of options there, starting, what do we got, from as low as about $39 there. So there's a few around the 45 mark. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll even see things like the Daiwa D-Shot combo there for about $79. But we need to stick within that $65 budget. So I think that Okuma Steeler spinning combo looks okay. So that is a 6'6" rod. It looks like it's around that 2 to 4 kilo class. And that looks like it's going to be ideal for chasing a few flathead and pinkies and whiting and that sort of stuff. And it includes a 2500 size reel, and it's pre-spooled with some monofilament line. So I'm guessing it's going to be something like 6 or 8 pounds. Next on our list is soft plastics, jig heads, and fluorocarbon leader. And then we're ready to get out and actually do some fishing. So typically when you're going to buy soft plastics, you'll get a packet, and that packet will cost you about $10 to $12. A lot of these soft plastics manufacturers, they're replacing their range of soft plastics continually, and you'll often find stuff on clearance or in the bargain boxes for a really good price. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to search for soft plastics, and hopefully we can find some stuff on there that's on clearance that we can get for really cheap. So let's go and do that now. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the sort by button and sort that by lowest price. Oh, and look at that straight away. You have got Daiwa Bait Junkie 2.5 inch grubs for $2. That's exactly what we're looking for. So I think a challenge like this just really shows that if you do a little bit of digging, you can actually find some absolute bargains. Now, these soft plastics only a couple of weeks ago were at full retail price of about $12 per packet. And these are really good soft plastics. So at $2, which is an absolute bargain, let's buy a couple of packets of those. All right, so that's soft plastic sorted. So what we need to do now is we need to buy some jig heads to rig those up properly. So we're going to do exactly the same thing here, and we're going to filter by jig heads, and then we're going to sort by the lowest price first, and we're going to see if we can find some really good value things in there. So let's do that now. All right, and there you go. So there is another bargain there. So we've got Berkley Nitro saltwater jig heads, usually $12.99. They're on clearance at the moment for $5. So that is an absolute bargain. I've used these in the past. They work really, really well. There's actually 3 available options there. So you've got a pack which has a variety of different jig heads and different weights and different sizes. Or I'm going to pick the one where I'm actually going to go and pick the hook gauge and the weight myself. So I'm going to pick 1/8 of an ounce, and I'm going to pick a hook gauge of size 2.0, only because I know a lot of the local species here, flathead, pinkies, whiting, all that sort of stuff, they'll happily take something like that. And I know that that casting distance is going to work really well with that rod that I've already selected. So let's go and add that to our shopping cart. All right, and finally, we're going to need some fluorocarbon leader. Now, that fishing rod and reel combo does come with monofilament that's pre-spooled on that line. And if you really wanted to save cost, or if you're very, very new to this, you may just tie your jig heads directly onto that. I always like to fish with about 1 rod length of fluorocarbon leader. Just gives you that little bit of a stretch, that abrasion resistance, and that invisibility that just does improve your catch rate. So I think we can sneak that into our budget. So again, let's do a search, let's filter by lowest price, and let's see what we can come up with. And there is Jarvis Walker Hercules fluorocarbon leader, bargain price of only $5. So absolutely perfect. So we're going to put one of those into the shopping cart. Okay, so that is every item accounted for now. So what we're going to do, just to make sure that we are within that budget, I'm pretty sure we've made it with a little bit of room to spare, is we're going to put all of those items into a spreadsheet, and then we're going to go out and pick up those items and get stuck into a few fish. So we have finished on $64, which is absolutely perfect. So $64 has included a 3-day fishing license. It's also included an Okuma Steeler spinning combo. So that is a 6'6" rod with a 2500 size reel that is pre-spooled with monofilament line. We've also bought some fluorocarbon leader in 8 pound for $5. We have bought a packet of jig heads from Berkley Nitros for $5. And we've got 2 packets of Daiwa Bait Junkie 2.5 inch grubs for a total of $4, and that is a combined expense of $64. Now, I know, as I said at the start, there are some expenses you could calculate into that as well, such as if you wanted an extended fishing license, if you wanted to cover your fuel expenses to go and drive to your pier or your jetty, or if you wanted a backpack. But to be honest, we're trying to keep it as lean as mean as possible. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go and pick up those items, and we get everything prepped and ready. We're going to hit the water and get stuck into a few cracking bread and butter species on a $65 budget. I have arrived at my fishing destination, so just here at one of my local piers, and unfortunately greeted with some pretty terrible weather. It is really windy. It's sitting on about 35k winds, and it has rained non-stop. Now, along the way, I stopped into the fishing store and I picked up that gear that we bought online together earlier. So this is that light spin outfit. That's that Okuma Steeler, 6'6", and you can see it's paired with that little spin reel there that is pre-spooled with monofilament. And I've also got the 2 packets of soft plastics, the jig heads, and the fluorocarbon leader. Now, I did pick up 2 additional items which were at 0 cost. So you can see I am wearing this backpack. That's one I've had sitting at home for quite a while unused. And the other thing is I pinched a pair of scissors from the kitchen cupboard. So what we're going to do together now is we're going to unpack all of this and we're going to set it all up. So we'll take all the tags and everything off this rod combo. Then what we're going to do is we're going to loosen this line, thread it through the guides, get out our fluorocarbon leader. We're going to tie 1 rod length of fluorocarbon leader together. We're going to tie on a jig head, and then we're going to rig up our soft plastic. So I'm going to show you how to do that step by step, and then we're going to get stuck into some fishing action at our local pier using some entry-level gear, targeting some bread and butter species, and let's get on with that right now. All right, so let me just take this backpack off and I'll show you the things that I've got with me. So as I said, I've picked up just a standard pair of household scissors, so we'll put those away. And in here, it's very, very light. I've only got 3 items in here. That's the wrong zip. But what I do have is I've got that packet of Daiwa Bait Junkie grubs. So they were the $2 specials there. So that's one of the colors that was on their clearance. So, but you know what? They are fantastic soft plastics. I've also got the Berkley Nitro jig heads there. So that is a 1/8 of an ounce in 2.0. And we've also got our fluorocarbon leader there, which is 6-pound line. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab those scissors and we're going to cut those tags off that fishing rod. Now, obviously, whenever you're tying knots, whenever you're cutting stuff off, guys, always be wary of your environmental impact. So anything we cut off, I'm going to put straight in here, and as we're walking back, there's a couple of bins there. So all that stuff is going to find its way in the bin. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off this tag. All right, I'm also just going to take away this plastic where the barcode is. So let's do that. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to put this together like that. Okay, make sure those guides are nice and straight. All right, now these reels that are pre-spooled with monofilament line, you can see there is a little clip there, and what they do is they just feed the line under it, and that keeps it nice and secure. So all you want to do is just lift that bail arm, and you should be able to just pull that line straight out, just like that. All right, so close that bail arm back over, and you now should be able to feed it through all of these guides. Now, obviously, these entry-level rods, they don't have anywhere near as much guides as your normal rods. So what we're going to do is we're just going to feed that through that guide there, and we're going to feed that through all the way. 2, 3, and of course, right on cue, it is absolutely pouring now. So all we want to do now is just pull that line down, give ourselves plenty of room to work with. And what we're going to do now is we're going to tie on 1 rod length of fluorocarbon leader. And the reason why I like to use a fluorocarbon leader is it's got stretch, it's got abrasion resistance, and it's a little bit harder for fish to see. So just those little 1%ers that can increase your catch rates. Now, when you're starting off, I like to just join the main line and the fluorocarbon leader using something simple like a double uni knot. Now, as your experience grows, you might start playing around with some more complex knots like an FG knot. Right, so all we're going to do is we're just going to overlap those lines together just like that. So very, very simple. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a circle on each end and wrap the tag ends through that circle 5 times on each side. So let's start with this side. Now, it is a little bit windy here, but you can see what I'm going to do now with this loose tag end is I'm going to create a circle, and then I'm going to feed this tag line through that circle 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then what you want to do before you tighten that up is just lubricate the line and then just tighten up that. So that's one side done, and now we need to do exactly the same to this side. So again, what we're going to do is I'm right-handed, so it makes it easier just to flip that around. Is now we're going to do is we're going to grab that other loose tag end, and once again we're going to create a circle, and we're going to feed it through those lines again 5 times. So because it's windy, I'm just using my teeth because it's a little bit awkward out here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we do have some really close-up step-by-step videos on how to do knots and stuff like that in our members area. So if you need some close-ups on how to do it, go and check that out. Again, we're just going to lubricate, and then what we're going to do is we're going to tighten that line. All right, so now what you've got is a section of line like this. You've got 1 knot there and you've got 1 knot there. And as we grab that and tighten, that's just going to lock into place and tighten up really nicely. Now, it's a good idea always just to test your knots, make sure they're nice and strong. So what I like to do is I like to just wrap one side around my fingers twice, wrap the other side around my fingers twice, and just yank on that and make sure it's not going to break. And it's a good idea just to stress test it, because I'd much prefer to break my line now rather than when I'm fishing and I've got a fish on the end of it. So grab those scissors that I got from my kitchen this morning, and we're going to cut these tags off. And you want to cut the tags as close to that knot as you can, just that way you got a really nice neat presentation. And as I said earlier, just make sure you take your tag bits that you've cut off and put them and dispose them away in the bin properly, just so we're doing our bit for the environment. So that's 1 there. All right, we'll trim that other loose tag off. All right, so there you go. So that is our double uni knot. Really, really simple to do. Nice, clean presentation. And as you can understand, it's pretty windy out here. And we did that in, what, 30 or 40 seconds. So what we want to do is we want to use about 1 rod length of fluorocarbon leader. So you can either measure that up against your rod, or as I like to do, is I like to just do 1 big arm span. All right, so I'll grab those scissors and I'll just trim that away. So we're now ready to tie on our jig head. So if we grab, there are the Berkley Nitro saltwater jig heads there. So they're the ones that cost us $5, so great value. So you can see there, that is in the size of 1/8 and 2/0. So what we mean by 1/8 is that is the weight of the lead. So 1/8 of an ounce, that's the casting distance that we're gonna get. And 2/0 is the size of the hook gauge. We're gonna just thread it through the eye of the jig head, and we're gonna do a uni knot. And then this loose tag end, you're gonna turn into a circle. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna thread this loose tag end through that circle 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I think I've picked the most horrible conditions to do this. So if I can do this in these conditions, I think anyone can do it. And again, what we're gonna do, just lubricate that line. The reason why we do that is it doesn't burn as we tighten it all up. And then basically you should be able to just pull that and lock that into place. So you can see that is a really nice and strong and clean knot. So again, grab your scissors, make sure again, you're not throwing that tag end away. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna catch that on the way down, dispose of that. So look at that there. So that is our jig head that is tied on nice and strong. So the very last thing to do is to get out our soft plastic, which is that Daiwa Bait Junkie grub, and I'm going to show you how to thread that on properly. Here is our soft plastic and here is our jig head, and you're going to see they actually match each other perfectly. The hook point of the jig head is you just want to put that into very middle of the soft plastic. Now you don't want to force this up, you just want to push it up nice and gently, and that soft plastic is just going to naturally bend around with the shape of the jig head. So as I'm pushing it up like that, you can see there, that's just naturally curved around, and you can see I've got that hook coming out now where we sort of said earlier that it should come out there. So the only thing to do now is just to push that up, and there you go there, you've got perfect presentation there. So that is it. We are done, we are rigged, and we are ready to go. With a very, very tight budget, we can go and target a really good variety of fish. And naturally, if you enjoy fishing and you really get into it, at some stage you're probably likely to upgrade and go to the next tier of gear. And it's not to say that you have to spend money to enjoy your fishing, because you absolutely don't. But I think that's just human nature and quite natural, that as you enjoy it more, as you spend more time on it, as your skill sets get better, you're more likely to go out and buy some more advanced gear, stuff that's going to be a little bit more durable, give you a better casting distance, be a little bit lighter, have better drags, better componentry, all that sort of stuff. But that's all part of you and your journey. So for now, I'm going to get stuck into some fishing here and hopefully get stuck into a few cracking fish to share with you on entry-level spin gear. Oh yeah, got one. Oh yeah. Oh, we're onto a fish. There we go, that didn't take long. What do we got? Oh. Oh, it's a big snook. Oh, look at that. And tighten this drag just a little bit. These guys cut leaders, so this will be interesting. Got him. There we go. Nice. So that is a nice big snook or a short fin pike, and you can see that's taken on the Bait Junkie grub. And you can see, look at this, that is the entry level rod and reel combo. So how good is that? All right, so there you go. So that is the third cast of the day, just using this very, very entry level Okuma light spin outfit. Obviously it takes a bit of time to get used to casting and obviously the drag, but there you go there. So that is a short fin pike or a snook So pretty common catch this time of year. So as that water temperature starts to warm up, you get these in really big numbers, and we're fishing around Geelong today. And some people like to eat them, some people like to use them as bait. I'm going to put him back in the water. Unfortunately, they don't release the best, but what's great is that was third cast of the day, and we've already got a fish on the board with the entry-level gear. And let's get this guy back in the water. The shockers, go. That's a toady. Look at him. Look at this. Nah, I'm not giving it to you. I'm not giving it to you. That's a big toady. Look at this thing. Ah, he's gonna eat it. Look at it. Nah. Let's make you do a 360. Yep, look at him. He's just following it. Look at this. Alright, let's go see if we can sight cast something a bit more desirable than that. Look at that. That's hilarious. Alright, see you, buddy. Oh, flatty, just followed it. So there is beautiful flathead. So that one there is probably about 35 centimeters. You can see there just the entry level gear, guys. So that was a very subtle take just along the edge of the jetty here. So that's really good. All right, and there you go. So there is just a nice little rock flathead. So I'm just holding him just very carefully from the back of the tail there, because that's going to stop him from kicking about. And there you go, entry level spin gear. So fishing with me today also is one of my mates, so he's got some entry level gear out with him. But there you go there. So that beautiful little rocky flathead. So you could easily take one like that home for a feed. And it's great just to see that this entry level gear is starting to catch a few good fish. Now the good news is that weather is just starting to improve. What we're going to do, I'm just going to put this guy down carefully because they've got some very nasty spines, so you got to handle them very carefully. And there you go there, just a very entry-level Okuma outfit, and we've got just that little $2 grub which is working a treat. And I reckon we might get this flathead on his way, but that's a couple of good fish now, which is really good. And the weather's just started to improve a bit now, so we had pretty horrible blustery conditions before. But if we can catch a few more fish like that on this entry-level gear, then I think that's going to be mission achieved. So let's get this guy in the water. Alrighty, matey, I'm going to throw you in. There you go. There he goes, starting to swim off now. And the thing about flathead is he'll just plant himself on the bottom. There he is, he's just plonked himself on the bottom there. And he's camouflaged straight away. Good thing is, there is lots of life that we're seeing here, so I reckon we might get stuck into a few more good fish. There you go, have a look at that tiny little grass whiting. How they can take that jig head and that soft plastic is just ridiculous, but there you go. And let's get these little guys on their way. What have we got? Wrasse. So that is just a little wrasse. So where we are fishing, it's very, very reefy, and you do get these guys in really, really big numbers. And as we go closer to fishing the tide change, hopefully we'll get onto a few more desired fish species. So pinky snapper, flathead, whiting, trevally, that sort of stuff. But anyway, there you go. That is another fish on the entry level rod. See you later, buddy. Well, and that is a wrap, everyone. And it just goes to show that with an affordable, friendly budget, you can start your fishing journey. And in our case, it was a total of $65, which included a fishing license, plus all of our fishing gear, which was a entry-level fishing rod, a reel, you got your line, your fluorocarbon leader, your jig head, and some soft plastics. You're able to get out to your piers, your jetties, and your rock wall and target all of your bread and butter species. So whether you're fishing freshwater, saltwater, or even your estuaries, there's so much that you can do by getting out there. And this is very typical of so many people when they're starting their journey. You don't need to go out and spend the big bucks. What it does, it gives you an opportunity to go out and find whether you enjoy the sport. And if you really do and you want to take it up as a recreational pastime, then at some stage you're most likely to upgrade to the next tier of products, and that is all part of your fishing journey. Anyway guys, with a very small budget, we've been able to get out there, get some gear, and get stuck into some great fishing action. So I hope that you've enjoyed the episode.